Hi everyone, welcome back to another educational video. In this video, we're going to talk about panic attacks. We're going to talk about some of the triggers for panic attacks, and one that's very common is when people have some type of respiratory issue and they start feeling like they can't breathe. And so, I'm going to go over some things that can cause that, and what you can do if you're experiencing that right now. So, in my experience working with clients, I've noticed that sometimes they will come in and they'll be like, I had a panic attack. And sometimes I'll ask them, what happened? What led up to that? And oftentimes it has to do with their breathing. They might have felt like they couldn't breathe, or that they were suffocating, or that they were hyperventilating. And this is actually a very common trigger for panic attacks because our breathing is connected to our nervous system. There are three main branches of our nervous system. There's the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight response. So when we feel like there's danger around us, it activates. It causes our heart rate to go up, our breathing to speed up, and it puts our body into an activated state. Then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. It helps calm us down, slows our heart rate, helps us relax and digest food. And then the third branch is called the dorsal vagal nervous system. And this system is more associated with feeling safety, feeling calm and secure. And so, this system actually inhibits the other two systems. So, when we feel safe, then our body can move into this dorsal vagal state where we feel super relaxed. We can even get to the point of like falling asleep, being in a really calm state. And so, the problem is, when people feel like they can't breathe. If you're feeling like you can't breathe, your body automatically activates the sympathetic nervous system or the fight or flight response. And so, this can cause your heart rate to speed up. It can cause your breathing to speed up, and you can start feeling really panicked. And so it's important to know what's causing that so that you can work on addressing it. Because if you don't address it, you may continue to feel more and more panicked and more anxious. So let's talk about some of the most common reasons why someone would feel like they can't breathe. The first reason is that they're actually not breathing enough. And I know that sounds weird because if you're watching this video right now, you can probably see that I'm breathing, and you're probably breathing too. But sometimes, depending on what you're doing or how anxious you are, you might be restricting your breathing without even knowing it. So for example, I've worked with clients who maybe they were in a stressful situation, and they started to feel anxious, and so they started holding their breath. And so, they weren't getting enough oxygen, and they started feeling even more anxious. So, this is something to pay attention to. Like, are you holding your breath without realizing it? Are you taking really shallow breaths? And this can also happen if you have chronic pain. Sometimes people will restrict their breathing because they don't want to move, and if they move, their pain might get worse. And so, I've had clients who have chronic pain conditions like fibromyalgia, arthritis, and they didn't realize that they were restricting their breathing. And so, when they started learning to breathe deeper, they started feeling less anxious and less panicked. Another thing that can cause this feeling of like you can't breathe is if you have costochondritis. This is an inflammation of the cartilage that's in your ribs. And so, this can cause some pain in your chest, and sometimes it can make it feel like you can't breathe. I know someone personally who had this, and they thought that they were having a heart attack because it was in their chest and it hurt to breathe. And so, definitely talk to your doctor if you're experiencing this because there's treatment options for it. Another thing that can cause this is if you have asthma or some other type of respiratory condition. Maybe you have allergies, or maybe you have some type of infection. I remember growing up, I used to get bronchitis every single year. And so, I would feel like I couldn't breathe because my lungs were so inflamed. Another reason why someone would feel like they can't breathe is if they have laryngitis, or if they have some type of irritation in their throat. And this could be from acid reflux. It could be from drinking alcohol or smoking, or maybe you've been exposed to some type of toxin. Another medical condition that can cause this is something called pleural effusion. and that's when there's a buildup of fluid in your lungs. And so, this can cause some pressure and pain in your lungs and make it hard to breathe. Another reason is if you have pulmonary embolism. This is a blockage in your lungs, and it usually happens because there's a clot in there. And this can be life-threatening, because if there's a blockage in your lungs, you're not going to be able to get enough oxygen, and your body can shut down. The next thing is GERD. So this is an acid reflux. It's when the acid in your stomach comes back up into your esophagus, or your throat. And so, this can cause a lot of irritation and a lot of pain, and it can make it hard to breathe, and sometimes it can even go into your lungs and cause an infection. All right. Number 8 is stomach perforation. So this is when there's a hole in your stomach lining. And this can be really serious because then the contents of your stomach can leak out into your abdomen. Number 9 is when you have pneumonia. That's when there's an infection in your lungs. And so, this can cause a lot of inflammation and fluid in your lungs and make it hard to breathe. Next is pulmonary fibrosis. This is when there's scarring in your lungs. And so this can cause your lungs to become stiff and rigid and make it hard to breathe. The next thing is ARDS. This is an acute respiratory distress syndrome. And so this can be caused by a lot of different things. It can be caused by an infection. It can be caused by inhaling toxins. It could be caused by aspiration. And so basically, this is where there's fluid in your lungs, and it makes it hard to breathe. And then the last thing is sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is when you stop breathing while you're sleeping. And so, this can be caused by a lot of different things. It can be caused by being overweight. It can be caused by having large tonsils. It can be caused by just the way that you're sleeping. You might be sleeping on your back. Or maybe you're not getting enough oxygen while you're sleeping. So these are just some of the many different things that can cause you to feel like you can't breathe. And if you're feeling like you can't breathe, definitely talk to your doctor and figure out what's causing it, because then you can work on treating that. But there's also things that you can do at home to help calm down your nervous system and help you feel safer. And the first thing is, you want to start belly breathing. So instead of breathing in your chest, you want to breathe in your stomach. And so, I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So, I'm going to put my hand on my chest and my stomach, and I want you to notice as I breathe, my stomach goes in and out, but my chest stays really still. And so, when you breathe, you want to breathe into your stomach. And so, this is going to activate the dorsal vagal nervous system, and it's going to help you feel calmer. Another thing that you can do is start deep tissue breathing. So, with deep tissue breathing, you're not only breathing in through your nose, but you're also breathing out through your mouth. And so, this can help activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And so, this is another way to calm down your nervous system. All right, the next tip is to drink some peppermint tea. Drinking peppermint tea can help open up your airways and help you breathe better. Another thing you can do is take a hot shower. Taking a hot shower can help open up your sinuses and help you breathe better. You might even add some eucalyptus oil to the shower so that the steam can help open up your airways. Another thing that you can do is start doing some light exercise. Exercise can help you breathe better, and it can help calm down your nervous system. And so, I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please leave me a comment below. Let me know what questions you have. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.